Okay, Sheila, the recording feature is on, so we can get started whenever you're ready.
Excellent. Thank you, Len. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are in the world, and thank you for taking the time to join us today for our WebEx, What's New with CA Datacom and CADRE. My name's Sheila Miller. I'm the product manager for Datacom, and joining me today is Mike Gowan, who's the president of the Datacom CADRE user group. Mike will be kicking things off with some insight on our upcoming technical conference, which will be held in our Plano, Texas office this coming April. And then from there, we'll move into an overview on our wiki documentation with Michael Palionis, who's the Principal Service Information Engineer here at CA, who will provide an overview and a demo of the new doc system. And then finally, we'll wrap up with Sue Brody, who's the product owner, who will walk us through the latest and greatest on Datacom. So with that, Lynn, could you just give details on the Q&A, and then we'll get started. We'll turn things over to Mike to begin the conference.
Yeah, sure. So anybody on the call who has a question, for us to receive those questions, what we're going to do is use the Q&A feature within the WebEx. And if you don't see a Q&A box in the lower right of your screen, just look at the upper right, and you'll see a question mark icon. You can click on that, and that will open the box for you, and we'll respond to all the questions at the end.
Great. Thanks, Len. So now you have presenter rights, Mike, so you can go ahead and advance. Mike, you may be on mute.
Okay, now I'm looking at screen. I'm still looking at the very first screen. I'm looking for advanced. Let's see. Did you make me the presenter?
Yes, Mike, you're the presenter. Just above the slide itself, you should see a little triangle arrow that you can use to advance the slide.
Ah, okay.
There we go.
He can be taught. I'd like to thank everybody for joining today and taking some time out of your busy days. We know your time is valuable. If I'm a little hoarse, it's from screaming at the television last night trying to will my Carolina Panthers on to victory. I came up short, as did they, but hats off to Denver and Peyton Manning. They played a great game. I'm going to advance up to this first screen. The Datacom CADRE Technical Conference is going to be held the week of April 25th, and this is the second conference that we've put on. And some of you may wonder why we're doing this, and the reason's very simple. We've noticed in the recent years that CA World has become much more geared toward marketing, and some of us old guys that remember CA World from years ago when a lot of the content was much more technical in nature, we're wanting to do something to address those people that are really wanting more of a technical experience. And we did this conference in January of last year. It was hugely successful. It's held in Plano, Texas at the CA offices. And one of the greatest things about the conference is we're able to have just tremendous access to the Datacom staff there. Kevin Schuma and the people there have just really worked with us and been tremendous in providing resources and speakers, and so we're able to put on some really great education in a concise period of time, and do it for very reasonable expense. This first slide here, you'll see the online registration. You can save that link and go out. As part of the registration process, there's also going to be a link in there for what we call our Wall of Fame. And basically what that is we we wanted to do something to recognize people that have invested so much time and energy into CADRE over the years. And so we started this up a couple years ago, and we try to elect about 5 people each year. And if you go out to the Wall of Fame, you'll see some very familiar names that have been with the CADRE organization for a long time and have contributed tremendously to it. So as you register, we do ask that you go out and help us with that as well. Datacom conference, who should attend and why? Well, if you work with Datacom, whether you're a DBA or a systems programmer, application programmer, there's just a lot of information that's presented throughout this conference. It's technical in nature. We're not going to be trying to sell you on anything. We're just basically working with you and helping you become better at working with the product. Also a great time for networking. We had better than 50 participants last year, and you know, you're with these folks all day long and evening events, and it's a great opportunity to really get questions that you might have answered. There are technical tracks for both DBAs, application developers. Gives us an opportunity to have a really good open exchange of ideas with the staff and with customers. And as I was saying earlier, you know, opportunity to meet and network. You have CA developers there, support, project management teams. Really a good opportunity there. The conference will run from Monday, April 25th through Friday. And we actually added a day this year to make the conference a little bit longer, because what we found last year is we had so much content, it was really difficult to get everything in that we wanted to do. And so we did expand it by a day this year. Kind of give you a run through of some of the things that are going to be going on. That first day, that Monday, there's going to be education tracks. We'll have an introduction to DBA day. We'll have focus groups going on if there are specific areas that you want to dive deeper into. We'll also have the opportunity for one-on-one sessions. If you want to spend some time talking to someone in the ideal area, or you know, or Datacom, or you know, CACS service facility, whatever you may need some more direction with, we'll have those opportunities. Moving into Tuesday, we're going to have a second day of education for the introduction to DBA. We're going to also offer some advanced DBA education. There will be an application development track, and then in that Tuesday evening, we'll kick off things with a welcome reception. Moving into Wednesday, we're going to have some people from CA giving welcome and keynotes, and then we'll start our session tracks that are specific to what's going on with Datacom, different tracks. And these sessions, they usually last about an hour, and sometimes it's hard pressed to get the information covered in those time spans. On Thursday, we'll continue with full group sessions, working with the Datacom roadmap. In the evening, we're going to do an event night at a local ballpark. Going out to see one of the AA local teams there in Plano, Briscoe Rough Riders, and we'll have food. And it's one thing about this conference, there won't be many times when you'll you'll need to feed yourself. There's going to be food at a lot of the things throughout the conference. Most lunches will be provided, and we'll have events most evenings. Friday, we'll continue session tracks, and then we usually have a wrap-up on Friday afternoon where we'll review how the conference went and kind of wrap things up and get ready to continue, hopefully, for the third CTC. We are asking for a fee of $99. I think if you break that down based on the number of days and the information, it's very minuscule amount. And basically, we're not doing this to try to make any money on the conference. It's not covering expenses at all. Basically, we want to ensure that we do cover some expenses, but at the same time that we can offset if people are paying a fee, they're more likely to show up, and we certainly want people to come, and we're making this available through PayPal, so it's very easy at the time of registration to do that fee. Working with the folks at CA, they've got home 2 suites in Frisco that you can reserve during the registration process. If for some reason they run out of rooms there, we've got a pretty large block, but if they do, there'll also be some other alternatives. We're going to arrange transportation between the hotel and the CA offices, so you won't need to worry about transportation. And we highly recommend staying at the conference hotel. It'll make networking much easier. You'll be able to meet people, over breakfast or after the day is over. So if you do stay somewhere else, you'll be responsible for getting yourself to and from the development center. But there are several hotels that are very close, so that shouldn't be a problem. And like I said, this event's coming up in April. We're going into the second week of February now, so we're only a couple months out. Just looking back at the conference that we were able to do last year, it's just a tremendous educational opportunity, and certainly hope that you'll join us in Plano. We want the conference to be meaningful to you. Certainly if you need any assistance selling it to your management, or you need additional information, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or anyone else on the CADRE board. We'll certainly be glad to try to get any kind of information to you that you need. If you have any ideas on something that you'd like to see covered at the conference, let us know. This is a conference for our customers. This is for us. So we want to make the information meaningful. If you come to the conference and you leave with unanswered questions, it's on you, because the people are there. The Datacom staff is there, and they make themselves accessible. The conference schedule is shaping up. There's still some opportunity for things to be added. So, please, don't hesitate to get ideas to us. And help us get the word out. We send out emails and things to the CADRE board. We put things out in the community, which, by the way, if you're not using the community, please do. It's a great vehicle for connecting with people and getting questions answered, and also finding out what's going on with CADRE. And I think that pretty much wraps up my slides. Again, thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I hope to see a lot of folks out there at the conference. I think we've got some really good things happening, and the cost is negligible. So I hope to see you there.
Thank you, Mike. We're going to hand it over now to Michael Palionis. As I mentioned earlier, Michael is the Principal Service Information Engineer here at CA, and he'll be talking about the wiki. So, Michael, you should have presenter rights now, if you'd like to get started.
Yes, thank you. Thanks to everyone for attending. I'm Michael Palionis. I do documentation development, and my challenge now is going to be to keep everybody awake through the hangovers and droopy eyes from the Super Bowl yesterday. So let's get started. I'm going to go through the slide portion of this pretty quickly in about 5 minutes, basically to give you the what, why, and how we're doing this all and what benefit it is to you. I'll then spend another 5 to 10 minutes showing you live demos of the online documentation in a browser, no smoke and mirrors allowed. And then I'll take another 5 minutes at the end for any questions you might have. All right. So when we asked users through a series of about 175 surveys about 2 years ago to all of our customers asking what's wrong with the doc, what do they not like about it, what does it not do for them, the general consensus was that they couldn't find most of the information. Now, Datacom users are probably familiar with the giant breadth of documents and information. I believe the guides totaled over 100. And so this echoes to a lot of the sentiment we received. There's just too much information. I can't find it. No way to find exactly what I'm looking for what I'm doing. Got a little delay here on the slides. A lot of this we assessed is because of the old format, the antiquated search in that. The PDF guides are flat files. They're built in a big package that you might be familiar with called a bookshelf. They're arranged by books, which are usually encapsulating a component. So there's not much of a semblance of doing things according to your task, according to your install job, or according to your administrator job. The volume is just plain intimidating. It's spanned across a lot of guides, as I said. And the search mechanism we had for that was essentially keyword-based. I'll show you this next slide, and this gives you an example of the old Datacom bookshelf. Typing something as simple as SQL statements would give you, thousands of results and only tell you where that keyword is located in what guide. It's pretty much like telling you, I found 1,000 instances of this, good luck. If only that we had a better search mechanism that worked more like Google. Familiar with web searching, this uses ranks, algorithms, popularity, full Boolean commands could be searched for. Your results show the first few lines of the page so you could better know whether that's what you want. The titles are all self-explanatory, highlighting what you searched for, things like that. So this is something of what you'd see on a web-based search. So in conclusion, we decided that we needed to vastly change our documentation from the flat books and guides from the printed world into a new online agile developed content scheme. So we got rid of those old guides. Before anybody panics, I will show you in the demo we still have PDFs if you're still using those and you want offline formats. But all of our guides have been re-architected according to the user roles, whether you're installing, whether you're administrating, whether you're doing this or that, or just looking for release summaries. We have online searching that's actually much like the Google web searching. It's Boolean, it's ranked. We have a pre-made set of PDFs that you could download for the whole information set that I'll show you if you're not able to or not inclined to use the online. And all of our content is essentially refocused according to the feedback that we got from our users. So what you'll be saying hello to instead of the guides that I'll show you is basically finding what you want according to various search fields. You still have the ability to browse as well in our table of contents, which we've redesigned according to Jaren-based use cases like installing, like I said, installing product from tape, installing product from packs, and all these various uses. So no more spanning across a guide that you have to know where the information is in. Other things as far as getting around in the wiki that I'll show you, breadcrumbs, so you know where you're at, how you got there, where you could go from there. A lot of the table of contents is now revamped into a more cleaner structure. What you could see here, just in the using section, for example, of this particular product, that used to be 3 guides. A using guide for ACF2, a using guide for RACF users, a using guide for top secret users. That's all now, as you can see visibly, collated into one section, so everything you need about using that feature is in that section. A couple other interesting usability features we now have in our screenshots for mainframe. You know, they're essentially ISPF panels. They're text. We could now hyperlink that text, so you could actually click what looks like a screenshot in your doc and get to information about that feature, about that command, just as you saw on the screen. It's kind of like a hyperlinked version for mainframe. We'll also be able to put embedded video streams. We could host a lot of mainframe product demos, anything that comes out of our communities, webcasts. This one, in fact, we could pop that right onto our doc. You could view and stream that live. One other interesting thing that we couldn't do before is now see the effectiveness of our doc. We're able to track what pages are being viewed, what percentage those pages are viewed among others, and most importantly, what keywords were tried by all the users to find things. So we're able to make judgment calls on people are searching for this term and they are or aren't finding it. Let's change how we title things. Let's change what we call things. So we could constantly monitor the use of this doc and improve it based on those usage metrics. So what does it matter? Mainly the customers are who's been giving us the best feedback. We've got a lot of internal feedback, but the customers are finding that they're able to search this from Google, from a tablet, from a phone, without having to log in. All this doc is now anonymously accessible. The confidential sections do require login and some other things that I'll show you in just one second. They like that they could find everything according to their role and not have to worry about other books that don't pertain to them as an installer or as an administrator. The content has been tested. It's won, I think, 12 awards from Society of Technical Communication by now. We could also update all of this stuff on the fly. We don't have to wait till the next release of a packaged build for anything. We could update these according to your correspondence directly on our space, on our doc space immediately. So these are all some of the things the customers have been telling us they like about it. Just to quickly show you, usability tests that we've done pretty much all say that this is easy to use. There's no one saying that they have any learning curve or any need to have documentation about this documentation. That's always good to see. And these are just some of those usability responses, everything coming in the I agree that it's easy, I don't agree that it's not easy. Now I'm going to show you a demo. Let me just take 1 second here to share my Chrome browser. Okay, so this is docops.ca.com, and I invite you all to go and check that out in your browser. What I'm going to show you is the Datacom doc set. All you have to do is start typing in Datacom, and it comes up. We have arranged Datacom because of its volume into 2 different websites, so to speak. We call them spaces. And almost all of your information for Datacom Core is going to be in this space. Reference information for tools, Datacom tools, is in a separate space. That's the main arrangement scheme that's drastically changed here. So what you can see here, we've got new features in the doc such as announcements. This is the technical conference that Mike just showed us all about. Some of these features, they work much like blog posts where you could go in, click them, and take a look at what we're saying on that. Again, I invite you to go check this out. This is all publicly available. You don't even really need to be logged in to see this stuff. In fact, I'm going to make sure I'm logged out in what I'm showing you so that you can see the customer view of all this. So some of the features I'm going to show you now, I'm not going to spend too much time navigating around, but again, I do invite you to check out this table of contents. All guides are now wrapped up into either Datacom Core or Datacom Tools. These blue boxes here are just convenient ways to get to the same, they're quick navigation, steered navigation. So if I want to go directly to release notes instead of browsing around a talk and hitting plus buttons, I can hit one of those and it'll take me directly to that, showing me all the new features. Just a nifty navigation tool. One thing I do want to make sure I show you, because mainframe users in particular seem to love this, customers told us they don't use our dock to look up messages often. They use QuickRef. So we basically made new coding to make this work much like QuickRef. You type in your message number. I'm just going to pick one I know of. And I typed it in wrong, so let me try it again. It comes up, you read your message doc, you could print it, you read it, you close it, you're on your merry way, and you never even left your doc set. Much like QuickRef online lookup. If you don't know your message number, you can even type up something abstract, SQL codes, or even something that's text in the message. Let's see what happens when I type in SQL codes. So you can see a lot of things come up for selection. I can clip them. It's a search and find feature. I could be on my merry way without ever leaving the dock. Wanted to show you a bit about login. All this is anonymously available. I could see all of this. If you're concerned about confidential sections that we don't want the whole world to see unless they're a paid customer, this is an example of that. So as this note shows, I need to log in order to see everything there is to see. So this is what's openly viewable. Once I log in, which I'm going to do now, and your login could be anything for your CA Support online login. That'll work fine. That's what we attach all this to. So once I log in, magically, extra information appears that was set for logged in users only. And I can then go and view all of that stuff. So while most of the documentation is accessible on your tablet, your mobile, your laptop, wherever, anonymously, the information that needs to be kept behind the firewall is and it's accessed according to your login. One of the interesting things to also see is commenting. Customers can now comment on all these doc pages, any page. They could add a comment. You could say anything from, I love this stuff. You could say, why aren't you? You could make judgment calls. You could say whatever you want to us. The way it works is the writers of the doc set get notified immediately whenever anybody comments, whether it's anonymous, whether it's from a login user. Within 24 hours, they have to respond to that comment, similar to an SLA, and get back to you. That might be something about a technical support issue that you otherwise didn't log. It might be something about the doc itself. It might be something to contact product ownership. But we will respond to you and indicate further information immediately. So we're always monitoring this. That correspondence with customers is brand new when it comes to this documentation. So to show you a couple other things really quickly, I'm going to show an example of a video. This is a different product. It's rapid reorg for DB2. But as you can see, this is normal content that you'd see. If you were to search for content and access this, notice that it's highlighted on where you are in the doc set. So if I search for this, I access something about discarded rows in my search results, I'm still able to see with this talk used as an information map, see where I can go, where it falls in the scheme of things, what level of granularity it's at. So everything I access with primary search is still going to show me where I'm at, where I can go. But the reason I'm in here is to show you a typical procedure that's backed up by a streamed video. So this is actually out on YouTube on a CA Education channel. You don't have to go anywhere else, just like those message lookups. You could access and watch this thing right on the page, and it'll step you through, if we've don't have bandwidth issues like this over the wire, it'll step you through everything that we just did in these steps form. So we now have this ability for new media to show, again, that we haven't had before. I want to give you a sneak preview of how these sorts of things will look later. First, I'm going to go back to Datacom Core here. And I want to show you that the seamless movement to the Datacom tools. And then I will show you very quickly the PDF that I'm sure you're all looking to find. So this is Datacom tools, very similar to all your other products that aren't core Datacom. Ideal, inter-product components are all covered here. We still have the same message lookup feature that's actually finding background knowledge-based things so the messages don't get in your way. Now, PDFing, I'm logged in. I'm going to hit a PDF button, and I want you to watch how quickly this is going to load. This is live over the wire. It's done. So what we have is a prefabricated PDF of the whole information set that you see online. When I open this up, it's pretty much the PDF that you're used to seeing. In fact, we still have all of the talks and bookmark type information. Everything links to each other. It's the PDF you're used to. The warning on this is it's a static file. If we're going to be constantly updating our online documentation according to increments, you're stuck in a particular point in time as soon as you download the PDF. Also, keep in mind, look at the page number here. This is 2,000 pages, so instead of 27 PDFs that you have to open each one or know where things are at before you start looking around in there, this is the whole information set in one giant PDF. Some people find that that's a little too big for their taste. Some people love it because it's one place to find everything in your offline format. But the thing to point out is that the online format that I'm showing you is the primary format with all of its benefits. And because the PDF is a point-in-time download, it's mainly for your disaster recovery, your offline compliance reasons. If you choose to use PDF as your used format instead of the online, that's something to keep in mind, that it's outdated as soon as you use it, and that it doesn't have those search features, the Boolean searches, much more similar to Google and the web that I just showed you. But for the most part, everything else is what you're used to seeing in the PDF format. And that's going to be one PDF for every info set, no more 112 different PDFs. So that essentially concludes the demo portion that I wanted to show you, but I'm going to give you a splash of what's coming next before I take questions. And this is called a viewport. This is a different skin, essentially a different view of everything I just showed you, which we will be implementing on the Datacom and other database doc sets. It's very similar. This allows more 508 compliance. It's a cleaner look. Everything works exactly the same, except there's some extra features. For example, you could see when the online content was updated, when the PDF, EPUB for online readers on your tablets is another version that'll be made available. All of your versions, you'll be able to switch from one to the next right in the same doc set. This is important for incremental. When we get to later versions, you'll be able to just pop a button and get to that whole doc set, as well as languages if you had different languages. So these are all some of the features, just a different view of them. This is called the viewport skin or viewport layer, and that's what this Datacom, for example, will start to look like shortly after. This is just released, this Datacom 15. We still have the bookshelf out for 15, so this is something to put out for you customers to check out while there's both formats. And then moving forward after 15.0, it will be the online, this will be the new format for all the doc. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing this and see if there's any questions before I pass it back to Sheila.
So just a reminder again, if you have a question, just type it in the Q&A box on the lower right-hand corner of your screen, and we can read them off. It doesn't look like we have any questions right now, Michael, but I do encourage folks to, add your questions in that section, and at the end of the session, we will take questions as well. So thank you very much, Michael. That was great. It's exciting stuff, and I guess we'll turn it over to Sue now for the, what's the latest and greatest on the Datacom. So Sue, it's all yours.
Okay. I passed it, Sheila, I passed it to you, so you'll probably need to pass that presentable.
All right, let me see. Sue just grabbed it, so I think we're good.
Great.
Yep, I am not a presenter. So as a user of the documentation, I have to give 2 thumbs up to the new documentation in the online documentation. I use it almost daily for searching. I'm 18 months with Datacom, and I consider myself still such a newbie when it comes to Datacom. There is so much information and so many details to learn, and I've used the documentation tremendously over the last month or so as this has become available. It is so easy to find things and research. How is it working today? As we look at new features and functionality, how can we go forward? What does it do today? So I use it for a lot of education. So I really love the new documentation. It's a great format. So what I'm here to talk about today is what's been happening in Datacom. And it's been a while since we've had one of these. I'm very tardy in getting one of these set up, but I have a lot to cover. We've been doing a lot over the last few months. Hopefully we can consider this, kind of simplifying what we're doing. We've been doing a lot of fronts. We've been working on 14. We've been working on 15, and we're wrapping those up, and I'll give you an update on those and talk about what's coming next for 15.1, and that is the first of our incremental releases. As Michael kind of mentioned, how that fits in with the documentation, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. So, what we're all familiar with, 14. The last year or two, there's been a lot of activity. We've been doing these active deliveries of new features and functionality to the 14 release. So we've had one that we called 14.01 and one that we just wrapped up last fall, which is 14.02. That is going to be the end of new enhancements to version 14. We're looking at just continuing to do fixing of issues in 14, but we really want to put an end to that and start combining our efforts, because we also had 15.0 that has been GA during this time. So we wanted to really focus on moving forward past 14 and 15 and really having the effort spent from the development perspective into one version instead of keeping these updates into both versions. So we wrapped that up, the new development last September, October timeframe. So everything that's going on in the 14 version is just fixes at this point in time. So, the highlights of what we did with the 14.02 release, and I'm going to have to, at the end, I'm going to have to reference you to the 14.02 bookshelf. It's not in the new documentation. You have to go out and look at the old bookshelf to find the release notes on this. But things that the teams have been working on was we delivered an online fast compress, which is really exciting. It works with both the press pack feature with Datacom and with the Datacom compression, but you're able to do your compression. You can move things from compression, from no compression to compression and back without taking anything offline. So you can do that on the fly. You can do some testing with compression to find out how much is this saving you. We're in the process right now of putting together a white paper on what we're finding from a numbers perspective. And with what kind of a sneak peek into that is, as you would expect, you're saving DASD, but you're also saving MIPS and CPU, both the zip processor and MIPS. It's all around savings. We're working on the white paper. We'll be publishing that here in the near future. We also delivered how can you access the data within Datacom, this rich historical data, via big data. And so we have numbers of different ways to be able to get to the data, get it to Hadoop, get it out of Datacom and into some analytics engines. We have SQL plan versioning. We extended online area move to both the CXX and the FXX. We had actually done the online area move originally for the data back in 14.01. Black click strategy, this was the performance for audits. We had some customers that were having some issues with their audits taking time in certain scenarios, and we have a way to optimize that to produce better results, faster results. Active query enhancements, and there's a long list. Like I said, I'm going to have to point you at the old bookshelf, but go out, check out the release notes in the bookshelf. There's lots of great things that the teams did during the 14.02 timeframe. A good reason to look at that is also in the 15.0 is everything we were doing in 1402, we were also doing in the 15.0 release. So the 15.0 release went GA in September of 2014. I was going to say GA of September of last year, which is now almost a year and a half ago. So we went GA. We were doing work in 1402, so everything that we did in 1402, we also made the same enhancements to 15.0. And so that was a lot of double work from our perspective, but we wanted to make sure that we could deliver features and functionality for everyone who was still on 14.0, but in keeping it up to date with 15 so people could migrate to 15 and not lose any functionality. So we've wrapped up work with that. We are currently working on a service update to fast-track you to the maintenance levels of the CARS 1601. So that was the CARS as of January, the beginning of January. Our goal is to get people to migrate to 15.0 or 15.1, and I'll get to 15.1 in a moment. We want to make that process easy, and we wanted to make sure that all of the maintenance of all those features and functionality, we made it really easy to get to that level so you can do your upgrades to 15.0, get up to current maintenance, and then you can move forward with the maintenance for that. So like I said, we're done with new development in 15.0, and much like 14.02, we're going to continue to fix issues as we go forward in that, but really no new development at this point in time. So where does this bring us to? What the team's going to be working on? We're going to be starting, actually we already have been starting a new release called 15.1. And this is the first of the incremental releases, and this ties, I'm so glad that the documentation is out in this new format because it really supports what we're doing. It's much like the active delivery in the 1402, but you know how we're going to deliver it, but we want to be able to make sure that everything becomes available at the same time, and that includes the documentation on how to use it. So the highlights of what we're focusing on is, as always, we're going to continue to make a full court press on the high availability. We're going to continue to add to the list of the maintenance items that you can perform online. One that's already in the works is being able to change a block size while online and being able to make those changes that you need to support your organization without taking any data outages from their perspective. We're continuing to make the data available for modern applications. So table expressions right now are being worked on, and we have a number of other things of just how to access the data and making sure that the modern applications can get to it seamlessly. And we're going to have a couple different supported upgrade paths. So you can go, so say you're on 14.01 or 14.02, you can go directly from that release to 15.1, and you can also go from 15.0 to 15.1. So we're trying to make it as seamless as possible in the upgrade process. So what is an incremental release? This is kind of a new concept. We're kind of turning things around from a CA perspective. In the traditional waterfall, the teams would work for 2 to 3 years, and at the end they would produce this PACS, and it was this GA PACS, and it had all these rich features and functionality. Well, we're starting off with the PACS. So we start with a PACS that matches exactly what's into the prior release. So we got all those features and functionality from 14.02. We brought those forward to 15.0, and we went through a lot of regression testing there to make sure that everything got forward stood into 15.0 successfully. And from there, we're making a trunk of our code, and we're creating a PACS from that point. So that service update is really helping us with that. It's solidifying that. We have a trunk of the 15.0 code. We've made the changes so it appears to be 15.1. So you look at it, those are the only changes from the end of 15.0 to the beginning of 15.1 is just to really change the label to say this is 15.1. From that point, we're going to deliver fixes and enhancements into the 15.1. Kind of one of the side points of if you decide to go to 15.1, so you're looking for a migration path, if you need a fix and you're in 15.1, you need to be under the understanding that you may not be able to get just a fix for that maintenance item. You know, you may need to be able, we may ask you to go, you need to be current on your maintenance to receive this fix, because we're going to be doing a lot of development of new features and functionality. And when the release is complete, so we work on this and we do incremental releases and incremental deliveries to you over the next, 6 months, 9 months. I'm still working on how long this is going to be. At some point in time, we're going to say, we're done. This is complete. We think that 15.1 met our objectives for 15.1. We have lots of great value for you. Then we'll do a service update, and we say that it's complete. And from that point forward, only fixes will be made into that, so it stabilizes it. I know stabilization has a key term here at CA, but it's really looking at that code going, no new enhancements. We're going to only be doing fixes. And you can look at that from, is this the right thing now for my production environment? And at that point, we'll start another incremental release. So there's probably the best way to describe this, and it looks like my reveal graphics didn't work too well in the WebEx here. But basically, this is a graphic of what we'll be doing. So we've ended the new development of the service update on the 15.0 branch here. Going forward from that, we're going to only be doing corrective fixes via PTF in 14.02 and 15.0, and those will be forward fit into the 15.1 branch. When the time is right, we might be working together to go, okay, these fixes all kind of fit together. They're in the same area. They're in the same areas that we're making this enhancement. We're going to bundle these all together. So there may be some lag time there. We won't be, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a one-to-one PTF fix. And as we go forward in 15.1, we're going to be delivering new features. So those are the little spheres. So we'll be delivering new features. As you start hearing us talk about 15.1, you might hear us use terms like drop 1 and drop 2, or incremental drop 1 or incremental drop 2. And that's more of just how we're managing these little, I'll call them mini projects. There's 3 to 4 month projects that we're going to do a really focused view on what can we deliver in these 3 to 4 months and be able to call that a drop. And those are kind of mini milestones within our context and our organization. You can kind of keep track of, where are we in this whole process. But we're not going to wait for a drop to deliver new features and functionality. When those are ready, when they've been validated, we'll go ahead and make them available. And that includes the documentation. So as we're delivering, say, this new feature for this incremental drop 1, the documentation will be delivered with it, and you can find that out in the documentations, the online documentations that Michael just covered. Once we're done with all this, we'll do a service update. Only fixes will be made from that point forward, and we'll do this all again. So it's just kind of changing the pace that the development teams are working on. But hopefully this gives you, as the customers, a couple different options of where do you, one, we want to deliver new features and functionality to you quickly, but you also need some level of stability in your life. So I'm missing a slide here. I'm hoping, okay, this is the spot I was looking for. So, you should be asking a question, so which one's right for me? Should I go to 15.0 or 15.1? For those customers that are looking for stability, that are only looking for the changes and, the only changes going in are the fixes, so you have a highly critical production system that, you may not be able to, because of your change management system, you may not be able to put in all of the updates, to apply all the maintenance to be able to fix a problem in your production system. 15.0 might be the right release for you to be on in those systems. 15.1, the advantages to 15.1 is you get the latest functionality as soon as possible, as soon as it's available. You get to participate in our customer validation group. And I'll talk to that here in a moment. And you get to prepare for, you have to be prepared to apply all the maintenance to get a fix. But the advantage to this is as we work through these things and as we work through the new functionality, you get to take advantage of them as soon as possible. One of the things that you might want to look at for your organization is taking 15.1 and having that in one of your test systems or one of your development systems. So the development team that on your staff can start taking advantage of the new features and functionality. So when 15.1 is complete, you're ready to go to production with it, and you know the enhancements, you know how to work with them, you're already leveraging them, and you can roll that all into production. So it's things to think about. If you have any questions on this, please reach out to me. I'll give you a couple ideas of what we're working on in 15.1. Like I said earlier, to alter the area block sizes online and being able to support table expressions, those are the key things that are going to be in our first drop for functionality. Kind of taking a step back, we're really close to announcing GA for all of the core products, so we're close to having that PACS file for 15.1 ready for everyone. We have had a few validation customers who have already installed it. We've gotten great feedback from them. For the most part, they found it very easy to install and upgrade. After that, we're going to have GA announcements for the IDEAL and IPC packs. Later on this spring, we've had a couple longer-running features for 14 for server and DBC, and they're trying to play catch-up right now, so we'll have their 15.1 packs available later on in the spring. So lots of excitement, lots of things that are moving forward within the Datacom team. I'm going to take looks like I have a minute or two left. I'm going to take this time to say, even if you're not at a point that 15.1 is the right answer for you in your production systems, I fully understand that 15.0, with its stability, with only the fixes going on in there, the lack of culture, I understand that completely. But one of the things we really need to make Datacom successful in your organizations is participation in a customer validation group. And so if you have the capabilities to work with us, work with 15.1, you get insight into what's getting developed, and you also have that ability to help us navigate what would be the right solutions for Datacom to go forward, what will make your lives easier, better, make it work better in your organization, and smooth some of the rough edges that you might have in your organization. Things that are hard, how can we make your life better by making them easier within Datacom? So, this is a pitch to be a part of our customer validation group. We have meetings once a month that we get to review what the team's done in the prior sprint, what they're going to be doing in the next sprint. And if we're heading in the wrong direction, you have a great opportunity to say, no, Sue, this isn't what we need, this is what we really need, and I can work with the teams and get us headed in the right direction very, very quickly. So I reach out to all of you. Please let me know if you're interested. It is one of the things that come along with downloading the 15.1 is we want you to be part of the validation so you understand what's coming down the pipe, what is about to be released as maintenance, so you have a good understanding of what we're doing. So hopefully more of you could be a part of that conversation. The team that we have is great, but I want it to be, bringing more from the Datacom community. So at that, I'll hand it back to Sheila.
Thanks, Sue. That was great. So again, any questions for us, please type them in the Q&A section down there on the bottom of your screen on the right-hand side. And this is just our contact information that we wanted to put up. So if anybody has any questions after the fact based on what we covered today, just ways you can reach out to us via email and also via the community. And we will, this has been recorded, so this will be posted out in the community, so folks that, you know, may not have had an opportunity to join us can listen in and, you know, hear the content. I think they're being easy on us here. There's no questions in the Q&A section, so I'll give it maybe 15 more seconds and see if anybody adds any questions here, and then I guess we can wrap up. Michael or Mike or Sue, do you have any last comments to make, or you're all set?
Just one. Again, I invite everyone to type into the browser docops, docops.ca.com. You can see all the doc sets for all CA products that you're interested in checking out there that are in that form.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael.
And I'll chime in. Once you're there, you can click on the link to get registered for the conference. You'll get to see even more of what we're working on for 15.1, and you get to let us know what direction we need to be heading. What does the product need to do to make your lives easier? You can meet me in person.
Excellent. All right. I guess with that, Len, we'll wrap up. There are no questions in the chat box there in the Q&A. So thank you, everybody, for your time and consideration. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you at the conference in April. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good. Bye-bye.